This is almost long enough to stay in a ponytail.
Hello.
Guten Tag.
Namaste.
Hola.
Hey.
Bonjour.
Ni
Salam.
hao.
Bună ziua.
안녕하세요.
Привет.
Saluton.
Hey guys, Dustin here, and today I wanted to tell you a story. So this is not a language video, this is kind of like a vlog video. Don't worry, there will be another Hindi video this week. But as you can see, no effects on the green screen, just me, lights, camera, no special audio. And what I wanted to talk about is why I suck at German. Well, not exactly why I suck at German, but why I gave up on German twice. So I decided in junior high that it would be a great idea to learn German because I found out, well, I mean, I always kind of knew that my family had come from Germany about 7 or 8 generations back. And I was always really interested in German culture and German language, and you know, I wanted to know more about where I came from and the culture of the people where my people came from, essentially. And so I got really into German, and I didn't actually really start studying it until about 10th grade. And I mean, I threw a lot of time into learning German. But you know, things would always pop up, and like with most of the languages I try to learn, I'll learn a chunk, and then I'll stop for a while, and then I'll come back to it, and I'll learn a little bit more, and then I'll stop for a while. And German was, you know, kind of like my first glimpse of how scatterbrained my mind would get with trying to learn languages. But I stuck with it off and on for years. And I don't know, I guess maybe you could say I'm vaguely, basically conversational. I mean, I know enough to get into trouble if I were ever in Germany, and maybe enough to get out of trouble, almost, if that means anything. I remember the first time that I just said, screw it, I'm not learning German anymore. I went to a language exchange site. I think the first one was, I don't remember what it was. It was that one that was run by Rosetta Stone. I can't remember what it was called, but it was years back. And I looked for people who spoke German and wanted to speak English, and, you know, offered a language exchange. And this, by the way, was when George W. Bush was the President of the United States. And being that I'm American, and nobody around the world really liked George W. Bush, it seemed to be basically open season on me because of my president. What I mean is, I talked to a couple different people, and maybe one of them more than once, but I'll get to that. But I talked to a couple different German people, or I attempted to, and everyone I talked to wanted to give me links to anti-American things, or tell me how much they disliked America or Americans, or how much they hated the president of my country. And it was almost like they were interested in exchanging languages with anybody but an American. And I wasn't there for politics. Politics is the last thing on my mind. I don't want to get into politics here or there or really anywhere as far as language learning is concerned. My focus is the language and not the politics of the country that language is in. You know, politics just kind of muddy the whole experience for me. So I wasn't going in going, woo, America, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to leave that out. But everybody that I talked to was very anti-American, and it kind of soured me on the experience of trying to do a language exchange with Germans or with anybody. So I stopped for a while. You know, I didn't go out of my way to try to use the language. I would listen to German music and watch German TV or movies, whatever. But I didn't really go out of my way to use the language again. So a couple years later, now remember, George W. Bush is still in office at this point, I went to italki and found a guy on there who he enjoyed movies and played guitar and video games, you know, stuff that I was into at the time. I love movies and I play the guitar and video games are great, and I thought there's some common things here that we could talk about, and I figured, you know, I'd try to practice my German. He could practice his English. That's the way it's supposed to work. So I sent him a message. Hello, how are you? What kind of guitar do you play? What kind of music do you like? Stuff like that. And he hits me back with a link. And the link is to a lecture from a German professor. And my German is not good enough to understand the topics of this lecture. However, they were kind enough to include English subtitles at the bottom. And the entire lecture was about how much America sucks and how much the President of America sucked as well. So, the 2 times I tried to do a language exchange for German, I was basically hit with anti-American sentiments. And it really kind of soured me on the whole language exchange thing. And to tell you the truth, I haven't actually tried a legit language exchange since then, in any language really. If I ever run across the chance to use a language, I will. But I haven't actually, you know, dove right in and tried to do a language exchange with anybody, especially with anybody from Germany, because, I mean, there's 2 separate experiences years apart where I got the same results and they were not favorable. And now I'm even more hesitant to attempt to do a language exchange with somebody, because, I mean, if you thought people hated George W. Bush across the world, now we've got Donald friggin' Trump. I mean, it's gonna be hopeless for me if that's what I have to look forward to. I mean, people do not like Trump. And it doesn't matter if I do or don't, or who I voted for. It doesn't matter what my government's doing, because that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for somebody to talk about what our governments are doing. And I think a language exchange should be based on the language. You know, I don't agree with some of the things my government has done over the years, and I'm sure that you don't agree with some of the things your government has done. But that doesn't mean that we have to dislike each other because I don't agree with something your government did, you don't agree with something my government did. I mean, that's our governments. That's not us. That's not me. That's not you. So, I guess what I'm just trying to say here is that, you know, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you can do a language exchange, you know, don't be those guys, you know? It should be about the language, not the governments, not politics, not anything like that. And because you don't know, the person on the other end of that language exchange could be somebody who, you know, is quite timid, like I was at one point. You know, I was extremely nervous to try to use a foreign language with somebody. And, well, like with me, it scared me off. It put me off the language for a couple years before I actually came back and tried again to get the exact same results. And it's quite disheartening. I guess what I'm trying to say is just, you know, if you ever get the chance to do a language exchange with somebody, don't be that guy. Focus on the language. Make the experience good for both of you. I mean, that's what we're all here for, right? We want to learn a language. We want to use the language. Why complicate that? So that's why I gave up on German twice. It's not why my German sucks. My German sucks because I never use it. I mean, ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch verstehen, aber nicht zu viel. And that's just the way that works. So that's my video, my little rant, my vlog, whatever this is. I just felt like that was an appropriate story, considering that, you know, hopefully soon I'll be able to have a Hindi level that's appropriate enough to actually start throwing words and phrases at people and getting some feedback. So if ever I have the chance I get to do a language exchange with somebody who speaks Hindi, I will definitely throw myself into that and hope for better results. So I guess that's it. So until next time, I'm Dustin, and thanks for watching, and keep learning.